Monaco, one of the most historic circuits on the F1 calendar, and my mortal enemy. But anyway, guys, welcome back to another F1 2019 Career Mode episode. Today we are in Monaco, if you couldn't figure that out already. As you can see, both of our upgrades from last time have completed, and I decided to do the downforce so we can have better grip around here at Monaco. As you can see, that we have pulled away from the racing point a little bit just due to our two minors, so hopefully we will be able to show that in our pace today. Today it's going to be a clear qualifying and race, so that's going to be fun. Going into qualifying, we have a 8th place finish for me and a 13th place finish for Grosjean. It's not really representative because you all know that most of the top cars are sandbagging a little bit, just a tiny little bit in qualifying 1, so we don't know their true pace yet. Moving into qualifying 2, we finished 10th behind Roman Grosjean's 9th place. I did go a 10th faster, but Grosjean really stepped up the pace with a 3/10 improvement from his Q1 time. We barely made it across. I had to use my typical 2 sets just to make sure we go through the racing points, which have been our closest competitors so far, at least on the R&D chart. They are eliminated in Q2, probably not great downforce on the racing point. But here we go for our best lap. This is the only lap I set in Q3. As you can see, we're setting it right as the time crosses, or is counting down. We got a Mercedes and a Ferrari right behind us. They really left it later than I did, so they're going to be held up behind my Haas, so I'm hoping they already got their good time in, because they're not getting by me here at Monaco. So far it's pretty good Sector 1. Sector 2, I never know if I'm going fast or slow around that hairpin just because the speed's so slow. But here we go down the tunnel. I feel like I'm really good at Sector 3 coming up. But first we got the nice tight hairpin. I clipped my back wheel on that inside barrier a few times. Sorry for the lack of pronunciation. But coming up to my least favorite corner on the whole Monaco circuit, I can never get that one right. That one wasn't too bad compared to what I did, but here we go across the line down the pit straight. See where we're gonna finish. It's P8. P8. At least it wasn't P9 or P10. Yeah, we did beat Grosjean by a very small gap, 1/100th of a second. And we do beat out Ricardo, but Lucas Weber beats us out for best of the rest finish at Monaco qualifying. But we'll have to see if we can turn that around during the race.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That was how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean Sea. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. The prestigious Circuit de Monaco, then. It's not all that dissimilar today to the layout that made its debut almost a century ago. It's 2 miles and 19 corners through the streets of Monte Carlo, and although the average lap speed of around 93 miles per hour is the lowest of the season, the tiny margins for error make it the natural habitat of the safety car. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's talk about Bird. They're still relatively new to a sport which does have a high learning curve and, of course, little tolerance for mistakes.
And this is something that has ended the career of many a young driver, as that leap up to Formula One proves to be too much. But luckily in this case, I'd say they're doing a good, solid job, and the risk the team took in signing them is definitely starting to pay off.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and starting alongside him P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Butler, Max Verstappen and Hamilton, Weber, Bird, Grosjean and Daniel Ricciardo, Perez, Raikkonen, Daniel Kvyat and Stroll, Hülkenberg, Norris, Pierre Gasly, And Antonio Giovinazzi, Kubica, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, don't try anything silly into one. It's gonna be crazy in there. Just do your best to stay out of trouble.
So as per usual, the Monaco strategy is going to be a one-stop. The choice is just between mediums and hards. I decided to go with hards just because the tire wear will be a little better near the end of the race, and then hopefully it will prevent me from getting overtaken right at the line or something stupid like that. I'm just been really bad at tire wear throughout the series, so that's what we're going with. So here we are at the grid for the race, P8. We are starting right behind Lucas Weber and right in front of our teammate Grosjean as the 5 red lights go out. It's a good start at first, but then we lose the back end a little bit. So Grosjean's actually had a really good start. He gets right by us. And aside from that, we stay where we are, so we lost one place technically, as Grosjean is still side by side with Lucas Weber as they go into the left-hander. Weber squeezes him out, but Grosjean still sticks it in there as we go towards the hairpin. First the right-hander as we head towards a famous Monaco hairpin shot. As you can see, Grosjean did make it in front of Lucas Weber, and we are still stuck in P9. We haven't been able to get in front of Weber, but we have held off the Renault behind of Ricardo. As we go through the tunnel, you can see that Weber is getting away. We are not really too speedy up here at first with the heavy fuel load. I did underfuel the car. As you can see, there's negative 1.3 laps of fuel. Monaco, obviously you want to be light on fuel so you can save tire wear, and then you can fuel save since it's such a low power circuit. But we still have energy to play with, so right now I'm just running in standard, trying not to burn too much, but trying to not gain too much. But we're gonna jump ahead a few laps. As you can see, we are zoomed in on Sebastian Vettel as he gets a engine failure, smoke coming out of the rear end of that Ferrari. He's gonna pull off to the side right through this tunnel section, which is a little dangerous. There's nowhere to pull off to, so he has to drive through at slow speeds while other people are flying through like us. And as you can see, we are heading down, and Vettel is still sitting right on the racing line, and then decides to go over to the escape route over there, instead of just going straight on, and the safety car comes out because of it. I was a little preoccupied with changing the engine modes, and I didn't realize that I actually gave up like 1 second here on my Delta as we were heading into the pit lane. You can see we are like 1.5 seconds down, 2 seconds at one point. But everybody's going to dive into the pits here, as why wouldn't you? It's around the crossover time for changing tires, and we get held up by Grosjean. And that's going to cost us a few seconds in the pits, and we're going to come out in P16, right behind Kimi Räikkönen. And everybody's on the hards, of course. Anybody who thought of going on the mediums, definitely switch to the hards just because it's been an early pit stop. But just being held up by Grosjean just for a few seconds in the pits, it costs us a little bit of time, and it puts us down in the P18, actually, once people drive by the pit lane. There are a few people up front that didn't pit yet, but we are basically we are still in like P18, P16 in the gist of it. As we go to the safety car reset here, everybody starts going, and I'm in kind of an awkward spot because I can't really get a good run, and then I lose the back end a little bit and Räikkönen gets away from us. As you can see, we did save a bit of fuel through the safety car period. We're only 0.8 down now as Räikkönen gets away, but I'm going to start like burning fuel and burning batteries so I can start overtaking these people. I'm going to do whatever I can, even though it's almost impossible to overtake around here. The AI are a bit slow through Sector 3, as you'll see as we go to the swimming pool chicane. We just got to get a good run out of here, and then we can maybe make a dive up of on the inside of Rascass and Raikkonen, push him out wide. And that's P17 for us. Next up is Sergio Perez, and I think we do the exact same move that we do on Raikkonen. As you can see, we are now going through the exact same corner sequence. This is a few laps after the Raikkonen overtake. It took me a little while to get a good run on him. As you can see, he was I'm a bit closer than I was on Raikkonen, I feel like, and it wasn't too much of a dive, but I still kind of squeeze him out. As you saw the Williams pit in there, and I think somebody else. So that means we're up in the P12 as Ricardo's up next. We're gonna sorry, the Jeff is just distracting me. A bit of a bad exit on the swimming pool chicane, but we kind of pushed Ricardo out of the way, and more people pit. So that means we are now in P10. We are finally back into the points, but we are still P9 now that we drive past the pit lane, but we are still not where we started. So Lucas Weber is right there, so of course I'm going to try to make a move on him. And anyway, we weren't close through Rascass. Weber's actually surprisingly quick compared to the other midfield drivers we had to face. But here we go, down the pit straight. As we go into turn 1, we just make a dive bomb on Lucas, and he just backs out of the turn and lets me go through. Didn't want to risk any damage. We just had an amazing run on there. I didn't really mean to make a dive at first, but that's the way it turned out. And now we're at the last lap of the race. Nothing really happened after that. As you can see, Valtteri Bottas is crossing the finish line, followed right behind by Max Verstappen, I believe it was, for the victory. We tapped the wall there, but we have one last shot to make a move on Grosjean. We just have to get a little closer and then make a good run through Sector 3. Because if we can get close enough through the swimming pool chicane, then maybe we can make a dive up Rascass, if I can talk properly. But as you'll see here, as I turn in, I lose the back end a bit, and I was probably a little too far back to make a move anyway. But we are in P7, which is actually one spot higher than we started in our grid position, so that's good news for us. As we come across the line, we are going to finish P7 in the Monaco Grand Prix.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
So, P7, we get beaten by our teammate Grosjean, Devin Butler, Hamilton, Leclerc, Verstappen, and then Bottas above us. And Valtteri Bottas gets the fastest lap too, so he goes home with max points today, 26. As we check the standings, we don't move anywhere, but Grosjean moves up to 11th place. I don't know where he was before, but he's now 2 spots behind us, but we have a 12-point gap on him. Verstappen overtakes Vettel with his 2nd place finish, and we as a team has overtake Racing Point with our double points finish, 6th and 7th. So that's a good come away for the team. I wish I could have beaten Grosjean, but he just had that great start off the line, and then I got held up behind that train. If we didn't really get held up behind that train, maybe we could have beaten him, but I forgot to record the R&D chart at the end of this episode, so I'm just going to say that I did the one major upgrade on the engine, the powertrain, so it's not going to come in next race, but hopefully it'll come in for France, and France is a very power hungry circuit. And I know there's a few more power-hungry circuits like Austria and Silverstone coming up, so that's what I decided to go with. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content. I'll see you guys in the next one.